What's going on, everybody? It's Adam from Free Weights and Freedom, bringing you another episode of Getting Ripped with Tripp, where I bring you simple, macro-friendly meals that hopefully taste good as well. Today, I'm going to be making an Italian beef skillet with rice and mozzarella cheese, along with some mixed vegetables. So my inspiration for this meal on this long weekend, it's Labor Day, a lot of us are off tomorrow, which is awesome. But I wanted to do something with beef because of some beef I had yesterday in the Husker Power group on Facebook. A lot of my close friends know I've had some pretty epic encounters in that group. If you guys don't know about it, it is what it sounds like it is. It's a group on Facebook of Nebraska Cornhusker fans. There's about 76,000 people in the group, and it's about what you think it would be. I'm a huge Husker fan, but these guys in this group, they're like next level. It's like live and die. Entire life revolves around whether Nebraska wins or loses and how they play. I'll get into that a little bit more. I had a nice little back and forth with a guy in this group that I'll talk about later on in the video. But I need to give a shout out to Anthony Vela, who was our first top fan on the Free Weights and Freedom page. What a lot of you guys also know is that I am a top fan of Rusty Lord's page, who is a Channel 6 weatherman here in Omaha. Huge fan of Rusty, big shout out. I like Rusty because he's one of the few people that will actually interact with you. So I'll ask him questions about the weather in Papillion. He'll respond back. Follow him on Facebook, follow him on Twitter. He's a good sport with it. You know, I'm very sarcastic on there, as some of you guys know. Now I'm a top fan on the Channel 7 News Facebook page also. So I just try to throw, as a top fan, this and that. And it's kind of funny. Some people think I'm serious. I'm like throwing it around there, but it's just jokes. But Vela, top fan. On a serious note, thank you guys all for the support on the Free Weights and Freedom page on Facebook. Seeing a lot of really good interactions and a lot more reach, which is awesome, so I appreciate it. We wouldn't be able to do anything without you guys, with us, your donations or just your support on the page, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that. So what you're gonna need for today's recipe is obviously ground beef, because we got beef, some ground beef, rice. I'm going to use some jasmine rice. I like the taste a little bit better. A couple cans of diced tomatoes, Italian style, whatever that means. Some beef broth, frozen mixed vegetables, J. Allen Wagner's favorite. It gives me a hard time about using those all the time. That's what the actual recipe called for. Some mozzarella cheese. That's you're going to put on towards the end. Diced onions. And then for some spices, it's an Italian skillet, so oregano, a little bit of garlic powder, basil leaves. Then I actually have some actual Italian seasoning, which I think to just combine all of those into that. But I'm getting a little low on one of these, so I might need to substitute some of that. And some pepper, and that's it. So this is going to be a one skillet meal. I'm going to make 2 servings. The recipe called for makes 4 servings. But I'm going to double it because I want to make a lot more. So this is going to, especially with the rice, it's going to kind of test the limits of my skillet. But this one should be a nice, easy one, nice hearty meal that's going to taste good. So let's get this thing going. First thing you're going to do is brown your ground beef. I got a big 2-pound thing of ground beef right here. Throw it in there. Oops, got a little crazy right there. Maybe break it up a little bit. That way it kind of gonna cook a little bit faster. It's 2 pounds, so this is gonna go for a little while. First step, brown the ground beef. Yeah, it's definitely gonna test the limits of the skillet. So you got the ground beef in there. Now you're gonna add your onions, about a cup of diced. They're already diced and ready to go. Thank you, Hy-Vee. So I'm just gonna give those a quick little stir. Like I said, this is going to go for a little bit. This will be a good time, I think, because I know most of you probably won't last the rest of the way through the video. But I'll tell you the story about what happened in Husker Power yesterday while this is while this is going. So during the game yesterday, Nebraska had its offensive woes. They were struggling a little bit with South Alabama. Second half, South Alabama punts. Spielman receives the punt, bobbles it just for a second, but then it ends up scoring. 76-yard punt return, awesome punt return for a touchdown. Everybody, the crowd goes crazy. Fast forward a little bit in the game, South Alabama punts again, and this time Spielman misjudges it, hits his hands, he drops his fumble. South Alabama recovers it, ends up scoring. A bad play by Spielman, whatever. So this guy comments in Husker Power. I like to go back, through Twitter and Facebook during the game. There's some good kind of back and forth. And so this guy, after Spielman fumbles, he posts, "Oh, I could see it coming. I knew it was going to happen. I knew he was going to fumble." Which, whatever, man. What tipped you off? That he bobbled the last one? So I was just gonna scroll by, which I normally do. So I'm not saying I don't have any blame in this. I do, but I ended up. I commented. I said, "Wow, that's amazing. Do you happen to also have the Powerball numbers, Nostradamus?" Question mark. I thought it was funny, and he did not think it was funny. But I just picture this guy like in his head thinking, when he fired off that comment, in my mind, I'm thinking, he's probably thinking, man, this is amazing. I'm gonna get showered with, love and comments, and my notifications are gonna be blowing up. People tell me how awesome I am, that I predicted this fumble. ESPN's gonna message me, offering me a job as the next college football analyst, and I didn't really go that route, and he got upset. He challenged me to a fight. Actually gave me his address, which I'm way too old for that, man. I'm 45 years old, and so all I said basically back to him was, since you can predict the future. You already know the outcome of this fight. So what's the purpose of even doing this? You know what I mean? So he didn't like that, and he mentioned a few things about what I could do with, some of my, my private body parts and all that, and it was a good time. But like I said, if I, looking back on it, I probably should have just scrolled by and let it be. But it's a fun group. I've been suspended a few times in there for some comments. It's hard not to, because some of these guys, like I said, don't get me wrong, I love Nebraska football. And I used to be a crazy fan too back in the day, but man, it's really not that serious, people. It's really not. You're getting upset, and the fact that you have to get on Facebook and comment crazy things and talk bad about players and coaches, it's really not that serious, man. Worry about yourself and enjoy the game, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't impact your life that much. So that's why we got beef. That was the inspiration for this meal, and I'm gonna let this brown. It's gonna take a little bit because it's so much, but then we'll get ready to add everything else. Okay, so your meat is browned. The onions are nice and cooked, so I went ahead and just drained it off in the colander to remove some of that excess fat. So now essentially you're just gonna kind of throw the rest of your ingredients in there. I'm gonna start with I think I'll start with the rice. So I went ahead and portioned it out. I'm doing 8 servings, so it's gonna be a lot. So ends up being about 3, so it'd be 2 cups essentially, but I like to do grams, so it's 45 grams per serving times 8, 360, boom, math. Same thing with the frozen mixed vegetables. It calls for 3 cups, so to speed things along, I just went ahead and put 3 cups in here. That way you don't have to watch me cut open a bag and measure and all that good stuff. Okay. Now you need the 2 cans of the diced tomatoes, Italian style. It didn't say drain it, so I'm just gonna throw them in there. Yeah. Okay, gonna be good. One more can, get it in there. Yeah, this is gonna be pretty beefy. And then same thing with the dry ingredients. I just went ahead and portioned them all out already, put them in one thing. So actually, let me kind of knock this mountain down here before I throw in the broth. Looks good already. All right, let's kind of sprinkle these dry ingredients in there. Obviously, you're gonna give this a big stir, but those going. And now 4 cups of beef broth. So like I said, I mean, it depends on how many you want to make. You know, if you were making half, you know, what the recipe is from that I'll post, this would only be 2. You'd only be using you'd be using a cup of rice and then, okay, 1, oh, reminded me a little something right there. 2, 3. It's 90s R&B. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I usually like a little 90s R&B and hip hop on YouTube as I cook. You know, I'm old, 45, so it's like right up my alley. All right, last one right there. Yeah, that's a lot, man. All right, so now what you're gonna do, just give this a nice stir. I mean, this skillet is like 2 capacity almost, but it looks like it's gonna hold up. So that rice is gonna need to cook. It's gonna have to cook for a little while. So what you're gonna do is bring this to a boil. And then once it starts boiling, turn it down to a simmer, cover, and it's gonna go for about, depending on how much you have, 17 to maybe, you know, 25 minutes. I know I said this, but I went ahead and it came to a slow boil, low boil, whatever. All I did was reduce the heat down to low to a simmer. Now you're just gonna, I covered it, and you're gonna let this thing cook. Obviously the rice needs to cook, so you'll know. I'll probably check on this since it's so much in about 20 minutes, and then it should be done after that. About 20 minutes have passed. Went ahead and checked it, fluffed it up a little bit. That's a lot of food right here, but went ahead and fluffed the rice. It's nice and it's cooked. So now the last step is you have to add your cheese. So I just portioned out 8 portions of, I did the reduced fat mozzarella. You can use full fat, whatever you like, whatever fits your macros or whatever your taste buds are. I just portioned it out, and all you're gonna do is kind of sprinkle some cheese over it. Like that. Let's use my hand, get in there. Get in there a little bit. There we go. Oops. Spilled a little, it's all good. Okay. Let me just kind of even it out a little bit, because this is going to melt over the top, obviously. Okay. And then with the magic of editing, I'll bring you guys in for a close-up once this is cooked. So once you do that, your heat's still on low, just cover it, and it's gonna go for about 3 to 5 minutes, obviously until it's melted. All right, cheese is melted. As you can see, looks absolutely incredible. Can't wait to dig into this. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna portion some of this out. I made 8 servings, so let me portion this out, and then I'll give it the quick taste test. Moment of true time. So I gave you guys, you'll see, I give you guys a close-up of the finished product right out of the skillet. It looked great. Cheese melted over the top. Let's give it a quick taste. So I portioned out 8 portions. You might be able to see behind me. Made a big, 8 portions, and they're pretty big. So let's still nice and warm. So let's see how this thing tastes. Yeah, it's really good. Seasoned well with the Italian seasoning, the cheese, rice. It's really good with the beef and the onions coming together. That's really good. That's a nice fall meal. When it gets a little bit colder during football season, something hearty to make. Stick to your ribs type meal. That's really good. So I'll definitely be making that again. It was pretty easy. Italian beef skillet. Once again, I need to thank all you guys for your support. As you know, we issue grants to first responders, veterans and their family members, 12-month paid in full memberships, and I can't do it without any of you guys' help. So that's why we do things like this to help first responders. It's a creative outlet for me. which I always harp upon. I did a video earlier this week where I talk about that. Just, whatever it is, whether it's working out, riding, going for a walk, cooking, just do something to kind of get things out of you. Don't hold things in. So follow us on Facebook at Free Weights and all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're at Free Weights and Freedom. Things have been picking up on YouTube, which is awesome. So if you guys can go over to YouTube, just search for Free Weights and Freedom. Click the link, subscribe. It'd be awesome. Things are picking up there right now. Same thing with Facebook, man. It's been awesome. So thanks again for the support. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Getting Ripped with Tripp. Enjoy your long weekend. I'll see you next Sunday.